Hi Sagittarius, give me a minute, just take a breather. So yeah, November 2020, general reading. Wherever you are in the world, I really hope that you're good. It's completely insane in the UK, so wherever you are, I hope that there's some sort of wellness around you. So your Lenormand card was the flowers. This is about receiving messages, receiving some sort of, might be a thank you, some sort of contact. Yeah, and it's with the stocks. So the stocks bring news of a new chapter, a new life. Might be news of a baby being born, something being delivered to you. There's absolutely no... the flowers tends to be a very beautiful card, so good news, birthdays, some sort of celebration, and the stocks can bring news of a graduation, a new baby being born, some sort of, basically they both represent news. The stocks is particularly news of a new era around something. So I'm not even going to go on. Actually, what I'm going to do is throw the cards and see if they can give light. So we're in Scorpio season. I don't follow the natural zodiac, but the natural zodiac has got an intelligence to it. So Scorpio season would be in your 12th house. Yeah. So the 12th house is the house of the mysteries. It's the house of the divinity. It also talks about a closing chapter. So something might be coming to an end, so something new can be born. So let's find out. A lot of people don't like the 12th house. I love the 12th house. It's the house of Neptune. It's almost like Neptune gives flowers to themselves, yeah? It's that self-care, that deep, deep self-love. But it does tend to talk about, so if you just think about it, something completing, so you give birth to your solar energy when the starter codon gets to Sagittarius. So we're always dealing with these cycles. There's always something declining as something increases. And that's nature's way. And Sagittarius rules natural order and the wisdom of it following natural order. So let me find out. I'm going to throw a set of cards to find out what's going on here. Sometimes when a planet falls in the 12th house, we can quite feel like a bit of a recluse. Yeah. But the reason that we go into that backward steps is to emerge again with a whole different vibrancy, yin and yang, yin and yang. So tell me what's going on for Sagittarius. I'm going to shuffle again, actually. So guide them through the month of November, please. So you 8 of Swords behind you with the Death card, yeah. So the 8 of Swords is always a card of feeling restricted by circumstances. Some of you might be in areas of the world where your freedom is basically denied, because that would be. So the Death card is always about shredding an old skin. People who can't shred their own skin, snakes that can't shred their skin, do not evolve, okay? It's a natural process, but I think it's very, very interesting because the sun is in your 12th house, remember, which is in Scorpio, which is always about a completion cycle. Some Sagittarius might be really struggling with the limitations we're under. I think of anything, the water signs tend to have found it quite good, but the fire signs, because your energy is such an outward expression, that there's maybe a sense of limitation here and feeling a little bit trapped. But don't forget, it's when we feel trapped that we can shred. That's when we shred. That's when we go within and do the shadow work. You know, the work that no one wants to do, but everything that we ever dream of is behind that shadow. Yeah, you know, my life's work involves no. We go there, and when you go there, the frog becomes the prince. Yeah. So some of you might be doing some shadow work. Great way to spend before December the 21st. Great way to be doing what you're doing, basically. So shredding old identities, especially identities believing that if something is denied you in the Eight of Swords. So sometimes we fall into traps of life's not on my side. You know, we all do it. And I think conscious complaining is not a negative. It's a good way to vent if it's conscious and it doesn't become a habit. But there's definitely a feeling of being under restrictions here. If any Sagittarius is using these restrictions to do shadow work, I cannot think of a better thing on the whole of the world to be doing right now. Because the astrology in December is about the start codon. It's all falling into Aquarius, which is going to start a brand new cycle. And what do you want to take with you and what do you want to leave behind? That's exactly what these are about. So what you want is the King of Cups. Can be a person, can be about yourself. I'll talk about the King of Cups quite a lot. I love seeing this card here for you. The gift is a Seven of Swords. So you're getting a little... It is the gift. The challenge is the Seven of Cups. Yeah, you're definitely in the 12th house terrain here. Neptune land. In Neptune land, you can't make things tangible. As soon as you try and make things tangible with Neptune, they dissolve. And because you want the King of Cups, this is about learning to walk on water. And the only way we can walk on water when we're mindful, when we accept whatever's going on in our life is what's meant to be happening in our lives. Queen of Pentacles in your relationships. Not sure what she is about. Might be a person, might be you. Grounded, stable, healthy self-esteem. Don't forget the peacock gets its tail because it's digested its thorns. Eight of Swords. Seven of Swords is the gift. Might speak of a process completing itself. So what I want you to think, I'm in a closing cycle, so I birth my son. Yeah. Hierophant in money and work. Great card to have there. Libra card in a soul position, but she's got a blindfold on, hasn't she always? And the Aries card as the outcome. The Emperor. I am and I will. So if you think about it, by the time we get towards the end of November, we'll be in your solar energy. And I know we haven't got the Sag card, but the Fire Trinity, your son belongs to the Fire Trinity. I go forward, I explore my purpose, and I manifest my vision in this world. It's a yang, not a yin activity. And Mars will be going direct. So there's definitely a closing cycle here. The Seven of Swords is the gift. So the Seven of Swords, when it's a challenge, is an uncompleted cycle. So an uncompleted cycle is something that we've not allowed ourselves to fully experience, okay? This might be a little bit of a deep reading, Sagittarius. Just be prepared. It always happens when this previous sign falls into our 12th house. Always. Oh, there's never a time when it doesn't, by the way. So the Seven of Swords is a gift, which means there must be something, you must be processing something. Yeah, because by the time we get to the Ten of Swords, we've completed the cycle. And as you complete cycles, you become the King of Cups. Someone who's in charge of their emotions. There is such people in this world, you know, it's sort of, they have this emotional autonomy. So they're no longer a puppet for other people's unprocessed crap, you know, that they fling at us and we just go, oh, that hurt. The King of Cups is just, no, I've got my own emotional authority. And because the Death card with the Eight of Swords is behind you, there's definitely a feeling that some of you have been using the restrictions as an inward journey. 2020 is all about it. We're going to start, you'll start to see the fruits of it. Come December, you'll start to see the fruits of this. I would say the whole of next year, by the way. So the King of Cups is totally emotional integrity. This might be a person, by the way. So why is the Seven of Swords the gift, please? Now you do get temperance now. So that comes after the Death card. And there's something vulnerable about the Temperance card. Look how naked she is. But her vulnerability is in her vulnerabilities about her willingness to be raw, to be real, to take risks, almost to expose herself. I mean, not in a shadow way, by the way. I mean in a real way, because you don't get the King of Cups and Temperance for any other reason. Because if you look at both cards, she's swimming in the water and he actually sits on the water. So this is about getting this regal command of your emotional world. Yeah. And accepting vulnerability. Because when we don't accept vulnerability, we just repress ourselves. And repression is a really, really not a nice way to be, okay? Because when it comes down to it, this is about wearing your heart on your sleeve. It's taking risks and not being that attached to how other people respond to us, because that's their business, guys, and not your business. Your business is to be this real, authentic, emotionally autonomous human being. That Seven of Swords is the gift. The Seven of Swords is a shadow card, and a shadow is just something that's not came to the light yet. That's all it is. You know, there's all this, people write thesis and PhDs and what a shadow is, and it's just something that's not been completed. It's got stuck in its process. And if something's got stuck in its process, nothing moves in our life until we've gone and completed this unfinished business. Something to do with a story. I'm not sure what it's about, but something needs to have an internal shift here. Maybe the Seven of Swords, if this is a person, they're coming out of the shadow. They're willing to be vulnerable. They're willing to take risks. The good thing about a general reading is the viewer gets to understand the cards and what these players are. But what I would say is there's going to be more vulnerability, either within yourself, or if this King of Cups is a person, it's with that person. There's a process that's coming to completion. And if you begin to see as all uncompleted processes as are unresolved karma, then you're spot on. And that's how we need to resolve things. If the person's there, they're not in our lives, we need to find a way to bring things to resolution so we're free to move on. The challenge is Seven of Cups. This is Neptune. It's fog, it's confusion, and it's with the Lovers card. So it is about a relationship, yeah, and choices and the way forward. when you're dealing with a 12th house transit, there's nothing concrete about it. So don't waste your time trying to make it concrete, when in fact how you can use these cards to your advantage is about claiming your own emotional autonomy and showing up for life in a way that's not all guarded and repressed, that's completed any processes from the past that have maybe been some unresolved stories with the Death card and the Eight of Swords. Honestly, Sagittarius, there could not be a better time in human history to complete these dialogues, to get off the fence, to complete your unfinished business, and to get ready for a brand new cycle. Queen of Pentacles, and I love the Queen of Pentacles showing up here for you, because she could be a person, but she's about self-esteem and boundaries, and she's clarified with the Queen of Wands. So it's like, so these could be people, but I can't help feeling these are about you. Peacock gets its tail, it's overcame its thorns, and our thorns are just our unprocessed experiences, okay? And then from doing that, we develop this very, very healthy self-esteem and this goddamn power with the Queen of Wands. This absolutely, because the power of the Queen of Wands is her absolute belief in her own self-worth, her own self-value, and an absolute inability to entertain anything that doesn't match that. It becomes like oil and water. So it becomes an energy that we no longer bring into our life. So we no longer bring in, sometimes the Seven of Swords as people who are very stuck in their thinking. Sometimes it's us. And as we complete our own chapters, we just attract different people, not right away. And a lot of us get frustrated with the waiting and we give up. It's about not becoming frustrated with the waiting and allowing. And that's when the Seven of Cups becomes the gift and not the challenge, when we allow confusion just to be. We sit in our Scorpio world. And the Eight of Swords, which is, you know, shredding old. It might just be these cards are playing together in a way I feel restricted. But see if you go in and you embrace that energy, that's when everything starts to move, and that's what we develop all this beautiful autonomy and personal power and self-esteem. Because there's no one in the world who'll mess with that Queen of Wands, I tell you. Because she doesn't magnetize people to her that would treat her in any way apart from someone that's to be respected and valued and honoured. So if this isn't a person, this King of Cups, this is about you. And really, it's sometimes I think that King of Cups has gone to the bottom of the ocean, which is a little bit like the Neptune, the Death card, and they've dragged out all those stories. They've completed them, and they're ready to take on something new. Now, the Hierophant in money and work tends to represent a lot of stability and a lot of security around you, so it's a good card to have. It's also the card of the teacher, the wise person, yeah. So it's tends to be the Chiron card, and Chiron is always where we're here to teach, yeah. So some of you are acting as a guide, a go-between, spirit. Like, I've got a very strong Chiron on my North Node, yeah. So my job is to be a guide, a Chiron guide, okay. So that's showing up for Sagittarius as well. So there might be a lot of how can I guide? How can I bring my wisdom into the world So there might be a lot of questions like that. But the Hierophant is a very stable financial card. But see, sometimes it's when we have that bit of stability, even just a little bit, that we can begin to develop our higher gifts. We're not really meant to stay only in stability. We're meant to trust evolution and keep growing, Sagittarius, okay? Now, you've got the Justice card in your soul position. This is Libra, which obviously is about relationships again. Tell me what Libra's doing here. And then you get Aries. So these are the opposites. By the way, obviously, this is about independence. This is about connection. They don't have to be opposites. We can blend the polarities. As one of my clients mentioned, you know, I'm independent, Aries, but I don't have to do it alone, Libra. These are always the big questions that we're asking, by the way. It's how do I balance these opposites? As a Sag, it's always how do I develop Gemini? How do I communicate my truth? Yeah, how do I do it? How do I communicate? How do I act as this go-between? This is balancing the self and other polarity. So tell me what Libra's doing here. I'm a little bit... So this is about relationships. It's got a blindfold on, which simply means if you plant a nettle garden, you'll not reap a rose garden. Yeah? I'm not talking about being a perfectly good person, Sagittarius. It's better to be real and whole and be a human being that is up and down and makes mistakes. But the Justice card, what's this Libra card about? Because obviously the relationships are very, very much on your mind and how you bond with other people. With the Page of Pentacles. So the Page of Pentacles can be small steps to begin to heal a rift. If there's been a little bit of a rift between you and someone else. When sometimes I see the Seven of Swords as a gift, I would say there's a process completing itself. So something is moving into the Ten of Swords, the completion stage. And when the Libra card comes up here, it does represent harvest time. And with the Page of Pentacles, I'm assuming the Page of Pentacles I pair with the Five of Pentacles. So it's about stepping in to heal a division, a wall that's came up maybe between you and someone else. But then you do get the Emperor card, which is Aries. So Aries is independence and Libra is about other. It's not an either or, it's a synthesis. And when you're grounded in this healthy self-respect and this beautiful, beautiful Queen energy, Sagittarius, which might be you, might be someone else, and you're being this teacher, you're bringing your Chiron out into the world, then we can connect in a way that's based on equality. And when we connect in a way that's based on equality, we move in a healthily independent way. An unhealthy independent way is I build a vortex around me so no one can get in. That's not healthy, that's a trauma response. But healthy is about independence and connection. And to get there, we need all the right foundations. It just doesn't happen. We have to tend to the garden. But there's something being completed here with that Seven of Swords. A story's been in the 10, which means it's been digested, it's been processed, it's been moved through. And that's what's helping you get this beautiful King of Cups. So I don't know if it's a person or it's you. If it's you, there's only one word that I've got for the King of Cups, and it's peace, actually, which is what the higher energy of the Justice card in Libra represents, is peace. It's grace. It's bringing these extending qualities out into the world. And if that's what's going on for you, Sag, because you've had some huge readings the last couple of months, it's because this chapter is being resolved, which tends to happen when a planet falls into your 12th house, by the way. It's why it happens. It's just oh, so I can dissolve old stories with that Seven of Swords. It's like undermining stories you're telling yourself. And because the Death card's there with the Eight of Swords, I think some of you have gone, oh, okay. I've sort of faced a little bit of Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. I faced a little bit of the shadow. I'm ready to complete, and I'm in this beautiful, 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 peaceful energy. And this is bringing what you're here to teach. What you're here to teach is always to do with Chiron. Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but it's when you understand your Chiron position, the house that wants to find fulfillment in, then you understand, oh, that's a platform where I want to bring out this Chiron energy, which is the teacher, which is the Hierophant. And some of you are just in a really good, stable financial position, which enjoy. And the Emperor is moving forward independently. The independence is not a separation from connection. What is it? And most of you know who get readings from me. 1 and 1 is a living. It's not two. Yeah, it's not emergence. It's a healthy two people with a healthy sense of autonomy. Sagittarius, it was lovely. I hope to do mid-month readings. I'm so trying to work with the last few weeks of the Mars retrograde, really big time, to make sure that I am going forward in December the way I want to. So I really, really don't know. But if not, I'll still be back for December. And I'll really have done a lot of work on what this astrology is going to be about. Sagittarius, it's been a pleasure. Lots of love. Bye.